Hey everybody, it's Graham Coath with My Music, and today I'm going to be speaking to Gavin Murphy, who's this man here beside me. And I'm pleased to see he's brought his guitars as well. But first, let's have this. Oh, it's not happening. Well, there you go. I was expecting that to work, but it just did not work. Let's try again. No, okay. Technology when you want it to work. There is a neck stand ad. It's working today. I don't know why it's suddenly.
I need to get going now. See you later.
Disjuncted. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do it myself. Yeah, I'm a nice young man. And there's the neck stand. And I put my laptop in it, and it all works. Marvellous. I've done the neck stand ad for this.
I could barely hear you there with the volumes working anyway.
Yeah, there we go. Gavin, it's a pleasure to have you on, sir. And coming all the way from Ireland, one of my favourite places in the world. It's sunny. It's sunny there at the moment, isn't it? Because you told me that. Beautiful. It's beautiful here in the West Country too. Absolutely beautiful. So tell me, when did you first start getting into music yourself?
Oh, it was probably from the age of 14, and it was probably earlier than that. Like, my parents were always playing records. The house was full of vinyls, from the Beatles to, Elvis records. So it was always around music, but playing music probably when I was about 14. My brother picked up the bass first, and I kind of looked at him and I went, I'd want to do that. So I decided I wanted to play the bass like my brother, and then it was kind of pointless having two bass players in the house, so I switched to guitar. And the rest is history, really. I'm just addicted to playing guitar and addicted to listening to records.
It sounds like a very similar story to the young band Wild Horse that I interviewed yesterday. They're two brothers. And there seemed to be this kind of nice rivalry between them. One started off with guitar because he started off with guitar. The other one learnt guitar. Then the other one shifted to bass because he did guitar. Then he decided to have singing lessons. And then because he did singing lessons, his brother decided to have singing lessons and get better than him. I mean, so that's actually a lovely thing to happen if it happens in your family. Sort of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I kind of looked up to him because I'm the baby in the household, so he's the older brother, and the way I look at it is he kind of introduced me to it. So, and he still actually plays in a band that I go out and play live with to this date, and so no, it's great. So he definitely introduced me, especially to a lot of the music that is very close to my heart today.
I was going to say, because you mentioned the obvious ones there, and I think those two come out in virtually every single interview with people, that the parents had Beatles, Elvis, etc. But what were the first albums or the first bands, if you like, where it started going, oh, now that's possibly a bit more me. That's a bit more where I want to go.
Well, it's a strange one. A band, my first musical love was a band that you probably have never heard of, an Irish band called Horselips. And
you're right. That's very rare for me to not have heard of a band, but there you go.
You'll probably check them out after this, but they had fantastic. It was kind of a fusion of, it was like Celtic rock music, but it was very melodic, fantastic instrumentation. And I suppose I was about 12 and I really got into them, but then everything changed. In Christmas 1984, my brother got the Hatful of Hollow, the Smiths album, and that was it. I just fell in love. It was hook, line, and sinker. There was nothing came close to the Smiths. They really are my musical heroes.
Yeah.
And but then it opened the door to a lot of the because that was the 80s, and the 80s was fantastic for music. There's no doubt about it. Like the likes of the Police, and I love Matt Johnson. They're
brilliant.
Yeah, so I love a lot of the indie stuff. But just the music of the Smiths was so original. Morrissey's vocal, and I know he's quite controversial these days, but the songwriting nonetheless was fantastic. And Johnny Marr's guitar playing, because I was playing guitar at the time, and I had an acoustic guitar, and a lot of Johnny Marr's guitar playing sounds wonderful on just acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So fantastic to learn the Smith songs and just play them on acoustic guitar. Obviously, I was into the likes of George Harrison as well, fantastic guitarist. But yeah, Johnny Marr just, and actually Nile Rodgers, big influence. I could
Oh, right. Okay.
my influences.
Well, and then Nile Rodgers, you know, as a producer as well over the years, and he's just had that little tinge of influence in so many pies, hasn't he? You know?
Yeah. But it's just very, very as you said, he's responsible for so many hit records from Madonna to Bowie, but he's a genius, you know, and again a fantastic musician.
Yeah.
When you look back at a lot of the 70s disco records, they're just timeless classics.
Well, I think most people, especially when you mention the Smiths as well. Now, and it's really wonderful that you mentioned the Smiths, because when I listened to your single, thank you very much for allowing me to do that. I can hear the Smiths in there.
I lost you for a sec there, Graham. Sorry.
I said when I listen to your single, I actually hear a bit of the Smiths in there.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. I don't shy away from it. I don't think there's any point. Your musical influences will always come out, and you can say that for any bands. But yeah, that melodic indie guitar, jangly guitar sound, you know, really does it for me.
Yeah. I guess the big difference, especially on the single "Alive," is that actually it's a really positive lyric in a way. I mean, the thing with this, the thing with Morrissey was that he would turn what sometimes was actually a really happy guitar line going along in the background into something quite miserable in terms of the lyrical structure as well. But I guess not everybody's cut out to write such diatribe about.
I could give it a good lash, you know. But then again, there's no. I think he does that really well, and there's a lot of humor in it as well. A lot of the humor in Morrissey's lyrics
is lost.
Heads, you know, they just hear him saying "Heaven knows I'm miserable now," and that's it. But if you listen to the rest of the lyrics, it's hilarious. But with my lyrics, and especially with Alive, it is a song that's positive. But when you look at the last 18 months, it's been a very, very difficult time for us all. And that song is really about embracing the positives in life. And we were chatting earlier on about we're lucky to live in the countryside. So it's kind of taking in the beauty of the countryside and realizing, you know, life is, you know, quite beautiful. You know, if you think about it, and you especially what's going on now, I think it's important to be positive. And it's a kind of a nostalgic song as well.
Yeah,
it's about kind of longing for the good times, and we shared with friends and whatever, you know, long lost friends, that type of thing. So it's kind of a nostalgic, because there's a bittersweet theme to the lyric. I think it's not just all summery and shiny, you know.
How much of where you live does influence your work?
A lot, because it's fairly remote where we are, and it's the long walks. You can get great inspiration because you don't have the distractions of the city life, and you know, I find it that I get quite inspired to write lyrics and music when I'm relaxed,
Right.
and if I'm kind of stressed and under pressure, I find that counterproductive. So being in the countryside when you go for walks, and you know, the mind is free. You know, you can come up with, you know, nice melodic. Well, I say I love the whole melodic approach to music, and I definitely influenced by my surroundings here in the countryside.
Once you started playing all those years ago, once you started playing and you started playing guitar, whatever, was your first intention to try and learn other people's music and other people's songs, or did you immediately take to writing?
No, it was to learn other people's songs. Of course, when you're a kid like that, you want to be a rock star. You want to be up on stage. Like, I mean, I was dying to get out and perform. School concerts were a big thing, but it was playing other people's songs that inspired me first. So I think I started to write songs when I was about maybe 18. You know, a lot of them, when I look back at them, I kind of I keep them hidden away, locked away. And nobody's gonna hear it. But yeah, no. I think when I was about 18, I started to really say, "Oh, I'll do this myself." You know, like,
Yeah,
it takes time because you have to build up your influences and find your sound and your style as well. If
yeah.
you're gonna write your own songs.
Well, and of course, especially when you sing as well as play,
Yeah.
it also takes a while sometimes to find your own voice as well. Did you find that you just naturally took to singing, or did you find that you needed to grow into a voice as well?
Well, strangely enough, I've only started. I've only took on the role of lead vocals in the last year, which is so last year. I released my debut album last year, so I've always been writing, but I've been collaborating with people, writing the music
Yep.
and lyrics, and get on other people singing the songs, and then other singers writing lyrics um, with me, and I'm actually writing the music, and they be actually singing the songs in the studio. So I kind of shied away from being a lead singer for many years. So I'm a guitarist first and foremost, but I wanted to release this batch of songs that I had written that I'm very proud of. So I really wanted to sing them myself. So that's what I did last year. I really focused on recording them, and I'm quite pleased because I feel I'm singing in my own voice. I'm not emulating anyone else, and that's important. I think, to just to it does take time. Like, I mean, I have my own studio set up here, so when I'm recording vocals, I'll do take after take till I'm absolutely 120% happy with it. So I have that luxury of having this little setup here.
Yeah.
It's not Abbey Road or anything, but it's a nice little setup, and it's
Well, yeah, because if it was Abbey Road and you were doing take after take, it would be clocking up the the pound coins.
exactly, that would cost an arm and a leg. Yeah, absolutely. So but yeah, so it does take a bit of time to find your own vocal style and sound, if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I think everyone's slightly different with that, but I think, especially when you've played lots of other people's songs in the past, and then you've written for someone that you've written for someone else to sing, even if you've written that as a complete thing, and then someone else is singing it, you've kind of just allow them to hone the melodies maybe around your structures that you do, etc. And then you got to step up and do, and suddenly you've got to come up with the melodies, and you've got to come up with a way of singing that feels completely natural to you, but is also works for the listener.
You're absolutely right there, because actually a good example of that there was a handful of songs that I co-wrote with a good friend of mine, Tony Kavanagh, and so he would have wrote the lyrics on those songs, and so he would have had his own melodies, but his melodies didn't suit my vocal range and style, so I had to bend them and twist them to suit my vocal delivery and sound, and chop and change some lyrics as well, to suit the mood of the song that I captured, that I recorded here. So you do have to alter the songs to suit your own style and vocal style.
So in terms of where you'd like to go next in terms of music, are you going to carry on Gavin Murphy, the solo artist, with more solo projects, or are you looking to go back to collaborating, or maybe a mixture of the both?
A mixture of the both, I think. I'm enjoying. Since I've released the album, it's great. The feedback has been brilliant. It's been RTE, the national broadcaster in Ireland. It's been. I got the RTE Radio One album of the week, and the new single "Live" is currently on the playlist on RTE Radio One. So I'm absolutely thrilled with the positive feedback. So it's definitely spurred me on and to do more. So I have new songs ready to go into the studio to record for another couple of singles, and I definitely plan on doing some live shows. That's really important. When we get
Thank goodness for that.
and when we get the green light, if we ever get it, but I can't wait to get out and play live.
Well, it seems as though it's beginning to happen. Some of the musician friends that I've kept in touch with after interviews, etc., just starting to book those gigs now.
Right.
Just starting to see things opening up. So that would be marvelous. But I mean, if there was someone that you could actually work with in the future that would be a kind of a dream collaboration, who would that be?
That's a good one. There's many really. I'd love to work with somebody like Neil Finn.
Oh, brilliant!
And a fantastic songwriter, and even his producer Mitchell Froome, even Stephen Street as a producer.
Yeah.
There's so many really. Yeah, absolutely. They're two that come to mind that I'd love to work with.
And Finn would be good, wouldn't it? Finn would be good in terms of maybe a vocal collaboration as well. There, finding some harmonies and stuff like that.
Yeah, because he is a melodic genius, Neil Finn. His vocal range and his vocal style is incredible, as well as his songwriting. And he would be a big influence as well.
No, definitely. What was the most precious album growing up? What was the one that you clung to, or wore the grooves out of?
I suppose it would have to be "The Queen Is Dead."
Right.
That really is a special album. And what else now? Actually, "The Kick Inside" by Coath. The first album is a masterpiece as well. I really enjoyed "Technique" by New Order.
Funnily enough, so did I.
Fantastic album.
Yeah, I just felt it was a point where I felt it was a really joyous album in a way.
Yeah.
I just felt it was at the point where they just kind of really let go of the past a bit more, and started to embrace where they were going. And it was because of that, it was, as I say, I think it was probably their most, joyous album, as far as New Order can go, but the Joy Division sort of, the Joy Division had sort of gone at that point. And, it was a really good album to sort of embrace a guitar-based techno album, if you like.
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I was always more of a fan of New Order because I felt the Joy Division songs, they're highly influential, but I just found them just a bit too bleak, a bit too from my ears, a bit too dark, and a bit too heavy. But I can totally understand why a lot of bands would have been influenced by Joy Division. But yeah, I agree with you. That album is great. It's fresh. It has a fresh sound off it, and
it does. And it has great production as well, I think, which always carries a good album. So, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we're going to look forward to some more music from you over this next year, by the sound of things, and maybe another album popping out at some point.
That's what I'm working on now, Graham. Absolutely, and I'm really delighted that with the positive feedback. So looking forward to getting some more music out and getting out and playing live. And hopefully come
Brilliant.
over to the UK to play sometime, you know.
Well, just remember when you come over, there's only one place to go, which is sort of Bristol Southwest. You know, Bristol, Exeter, anywhere like that. That's fine.
No, absolutely.
And we'll make sure that you've got a pint of very cold, very nice scrumpy in your hand when you do.
I'll hold you to that, Graham.
That's fine. You certainly can. If people want to download the music or get hold of the music, where's the best place? Is it for you your website or Bandcamp?
Yeah, well, I'm on Bandcamp. Now I go under the name Gavin Murphy Songs.
Right.
So I don't get confused with any other Gavin Murphys, because there is a couple of Gavin Murphys there out in the industry. So Gavin Murphy Songs, and you'll find me on Spotify, or why do I say Spotify? Because the poor artist gets very little from Spotify. So Bandcamp, and my website is gavinmurphysongs.com, and it has all the links there. So
yeah, you don't get me started on my favorite subject about streaming and what artists get paid. I think personally, I think things like the streaming services are absolutely brilliant, but what people need to do, and I say this in so many interviews, is if you're going to support an artist by listening to them on Spotify or whatever, you need to buy a t-shirt from the artist, and preferably one that says, I listen to Gavin Murphy on Spotify.
Yeah, but that's a great idea. I better get some t-shirts made up quickly.
Yeah. No, I virtually every artist that I've mentioned that to has gone, do you know what? That's a genius idea. Just get I listen to Gavin Murphy on Spotify. You're not dissing Spotify. You're not putting down Spotify, and you're not saying you're not going to do it. It's just that you get some money out of it, sir.
I think that's a great idea. Absolutely.
It has to be done. I'm very jealous of your guitars in the background. They're absolutely beautiful. Is the red one your favorite?
That's my Gibson 335, beloved 335. I have that since the mid 90s, and I've pretty much used that in everything I've recorded. And a lovely Taylor acoustic as well. So I've more over there as well. So no, it's
with a cymbal. Is there a full drum kit there, or is it just a cymbal?
Drum kit there, yeah.
Full drum kit.
And record some drums. So it's crammed full of stuff, this room.
Oh, it's a wonderful thing. Well, Gavin, thank you so much for coming and talking to me about your music today. I wish you all the best for the future. And I wish you all the best with this single that's going out at the moment, Alive. It is a fantastic song. I felt really great listening to it. I did. There was the tinge of the Smiths in there, but it was definitely Gavin Murphy.
Oh, well, that's lovely to hear.
And that's what we like. There's enough familiarity there that you go, but you want it to be. You don't want it to be a clone. You want it to be something different, and it very, very definitely is you and only you, sir. And that's the most important thing.
Lovely to hear, Graham. Thanks very much for having me, and I thoroughly enjoyed the interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
All the best. Take care.